Hi guys, how are you? So today we are going to be talking about the reported speech, but not the reported speech that we have already studied, the one that you already know, but we are going to be talking particularly about reporting verbs. You are already familiar with some reporting verbs, right? For example, ask, say, and tell. But today we are going to expand our horizons a little bit and you will notice that there are way more reporting verbs. And we're going to check how can we use them, okay? So I want you to take a look, first of all, at these two phrases over here, coming originally from one line from the character lucky, from infinity words, if I'm correct. Do you remember Loki? Well, what he literally said was, I don't know if you remember this scene. Sorry if I am spoiling someone. He said, I promise you, brother, the sun will shine on us again. And then take a look at these two ways for reporting it. The first one that we're probably very familiar with, it's Loki told Thor that he promised him that the sun will shine on them again. We are familiar with that, right? I mean, we use the verb tell, and then we use that, and then we start just back shifting from I to he, from promise in present to promised in past, from you then him, etc., 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 right? We are familiar with this process. But now take a look at this one here, the red one. It says, Loki promised his brother that the sun will shine on them again. Take a look at the sentences. You can notice the difference, right? There is a little difference in a couple verbs. What do you notice? Which one sounds better for you? Which one sounds more natural for you? Definitely, right? The one in red sounds more natural, sounds shorter, sounds not as elaborated and, like plastic and rigid as the first one, right? I mean, instead of saying he told Thor that he promised, I mean, he promised him. That's it. We say short, we are clearer, right? So, promise is another of our reporting verbs. And in this case, it allowed us, right, to make a sentence shorter, more direct. So let's take a look at what are reporting verbs in reality. So the reporting verbs are used in general to report what someone said more accurately than just using say and tell. And as you can see above me, there are a lot of possible reporting verbs. For example, we just saw promise. Then we have suggest, decide, agree, insist, deny, recommend, congratulate, remind, blame, and a lot of them. So what we're going to do today is learn how we can use these reporting verbs and what is the difference between these and say, tell, and ask regarding basically structure, right? We can understand, right, the meaning that instead of saying fulanito me dijo, we are going to say he recommended me recomendó, right? Instead of saying he said that, we can say he suggested that. So the reporting verb is going to help me to be a little bit more precise in the meaning of what I am trying to report regarding the intention, not only the message, but the intention of the person when they were speaking. So right now we are going to check what the structure is for this reporting verb. So take a paper and a pen and start making your notes, okay? Let's start with the first group of reporting verbs. The first group of reporting verbs uh, come with the structure verb, object, I mean who or what the person is talking to, and then a verb in infinitive. And these verbs are the verb advise, encourage, invite, remind, and warn. So attention here, don't go any further. Pause the video if you are not sure about the meaning of these verbs, okay? Pause the video, look them up in the dictionary, and once you are sure about the meaning, you can continue watching, okay? Well, Assuming that everybody knows now what these verbs mean, I'm going to give you an example of how to use this reporting verb with the structure. Do you know Spider-Man and the famous phrase from Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben told Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Well, let's try to report this in a more natural way. If someone asks you, for example, hey, what is that famous message that he said? Well, you can say, Uncle Ben, warned, that is the verb, right? Who did he warn? What is the object? Well, he warned Peter, right? And what is the verb that he warned him to? Well, he warned Peter to be responsible, right? And that is a way of reporting that phrase over there quicker and easier and in fewer words, right? Uncle Bear warned Peter to be responsible. And that is the way that we are going to use the rest of the verbs, okay? This person reminded someone to do something. Someone invited me to go somewhere, right? This person encouraged this other person to do this activity, etc. Okay? So these verbs in this list, they follow that structure over there. Okay, let's check the next group of verbs. Okay, these verbs are simpler. They only take the reporting verb and the following verb in infinitive. Okay? So we have the verb agree, decide, offer, promise, refuse, and threaten. Please check the meaning of the verbs if you are not sure about them. Okay? And then let's check an example. Do you know Rose? Do you know what movie she's from? Of course, right? From Titanic. So Rose told Jack, I'll never let go, Jack. I promise. So if we want to report this in a simpler, easier, shorter way, we can say, well, Rose promised to never let go. So we have the verb promise and then the next verb in infinitive form. In this case, she included the adverb never, right? But we can still use it as in infinitive. Promise to never let go, okay? We can use the rest of the verbs with the same structure. She agreed to do something, she decided to do something, she offered to do something, she refused to do something, or she threatened to do something, okay? This is probably the easiest structure for reporting verbs, so keep it in mind. And let's move to the next group of verbs. This one is very simple because it's a verb and a relative pronoun. Es decir, the verb, the word that, which is in parentheses because you can decide if you use it or not, and then the complete sentence of what the person said. For example, well, this is not a movie, but a series. Do you recognize Robert Baratheon? No? Game of Thrones, guys. Come on, go watch some more TV. So, what Robert Baratheon said was, I have never loved my brothers. A sad thing for a man to admit, but it's true, right? So, in this case, we are going to check these verbs. Check out that the list is quite longer than the other ones. So, admit, agree, decide, deny, explain, insist, promise, recommend, suggest, and the structure is basically the verb and the phrase. Robert admitted that he had never loved his brother. We just make the tense back shift, okay? Well, okay guys, we're halfway there. Now, the next group of reporting verbs is the verbs that take the structure, the verb, and then the following verb in gerund form, okay? This one is also a very simple structure, so keep in mind, and it takes verbs like deny, recommend, and suggest. And for example, we have the phrase above here from Harry Potter, right? And Professor McGonagall tells Harry, have a biscuit, Potter. Do I make a good British accent? So we can report this saying that Professor McGonagall suggested having a biscuit, right? So all those verbs are going to be in this same way, okay? For example, he denied doing something, he recommended doing something, and she suggested having a biscuit, for example, okay? Well, The next group, it's a little bit longer, so careful with that one, okay? This group of verbs is going to have the structure. First the verb, then the object, I mean, who is the message directed to, a quién le estaba hablando, the preposition, and in this case, careful because the preposition might change. They may be different prepositions, which I am going to tell you whenever necessary. And then a verb in gerund form, okay? So this group of verbs is accuse, blame, and congratulate. Again, look them up if you're not sure about the meaning. And then, well, for example, let's take a look at the phrase over here. Can you identify the movie? Yes? Very good. That is Inside Out, right? And this is a phrase said by Anger. Do you remember Anger, the red little thingy? Okay. So Anger, when he was offered some broccoli pizza, he said, "Congratulations, San Francisco, you ruined pizza." You remember Anger used to be like very grumpy? So Anger said in a very sarcastic way, right? This phrase. So Anger congratulated, that's the verb, San Francisco. ¿A quién felicitó? Well, the preposition, in this case for, and then what is the action? Ruining in gerund pizza, right? So Anger congratulated San Francisco for ruining pizza when he was offered some broccoli pizza. Okay, so the same is going to happen with the other verbs. For example, he accused her of doing something, for example. The same with blame. She blamed him for doing this action. Okay, it looks a little long, but then, when you say it, it kind of makes sense, right? Okay, so let's check out the final group. I know, it's only 6 of them, right? I mean, I know you can learn them. And this one is quite short. It includes the verbs apologize and the verb insist. So, and right here we have a scene from the movie The Hunger Games. Have you watched it? Well, and right there we have Katniss, and she's talking to Pita. You know Pita? And she says, "I love you. I knew it the minute I met you. I'm sorry it took so long for me to catch up. I just got stuck." So what she said was, "I'm sorry," right? So instead of, "Oh, she said she was sorry," we can go and straight said that she apologized, that is the verb, for, that's the preposition, and taking, that's the verb in gerund. Katniss apologized for taking so long to catch up. And then the same is going to happen with the verb insist, right? So it could be, for example, she insisted, preposition on. She insisted on maybe going to the park, for example. Okay? So that's basically the most common reporting verbs. I mean, there are many, many, many others. You can go to the internet and you will see all the possible lists because it's basically all the intentions that we have when we speak, like suggest, deny, accuse, etc. But I mean, those are the basic ones and the ones that we're going to start studying right now. More, later you will find out and you will start seeing some others, but these are the base, and my recommendation is that you focus on learning these. Attention, don't memorize them like a list, okay? Apologies, insist, verb, preposition, gerund, and then verb, only preposition, accuse, blame, congratulate, because that's not going to really work. My recommendation is make a chart on your notebook where you can see it frequently, and then practice making examples, okay? So what I did today was giving you some examples from movies because that's what we are discussing these days, but you can pretty much make examples with anything, with conversations you have had with your friends, with gossip you have heard on the street, with pretty much anything, okay? And that is the way that you're going to remember it easily. But for now, start by answering the worksheet and you will start practicing and checking. For now, probably you will need to consult your notes a lot, but I promise that in the future it's going to be easier and it's going to be more automatic, okay? Like everything in English. Okay, guys, good luck and let me know if I can help you with anything else. Bye.